Hello there, folks. It's Mark Smith with Family Tree Brand Life Coaches, and we're back. I promised you, I didn't promise you, but I suggested it might be Brenda leading the group tonight, but she's visiting family, so y'all got me again. So, welcome one and all. We got two folks here so far in church. So I've got several announcements and just issues to share with y'all. Let me turn on my chat computer here. There we go. Hey, Soren. Jackie's in the house. Jackie says we need more wrenches. I think Brenda is going to be visiting from far away, so she might do some wrenching herself. So, okay. Well, I didn't press the right button to get me on. My picture has my eyes closed. Okay. Here we are. Annie, Liberty, Howe. Is Brenda here? I think she's coming. Chia B. Bunny, I don't know if I'm saying that. She's in a fantastic mood. I'm in a pretty darn good mood my own self, I gotta say. Can't complain. I'm both fat and sassy tonight, so y'all better look out. Okay, so there's Sarah. Shar says I'm looking well. Well, I've been in the sun. I went on a little trip. My wife and I went on a trip. Chia Bunny's in a fantastic mood because she's self-empowering. Woohoo! That's awesome. I do look sassy because I feel sassy. So let's get down to business. First of all, I want to announce, if you haven't heard it yet, Soren's in round shape. I'm playing with my little ball tonight. Stress reliever ball. Hi, Denise. She's here, but she's multitasking. So, the guy who helped me the most in terms of helping me learn, hey, nerd, incognito, Sue. No rubber chicken. I don't think we're going to need the rubber chicken tonight. But the guy who really helped me theoretically the most was Jackson Mackenzie, who wrote the book Psychopath Free. He's got a new book out. The guy has been off the grid. Hi, LaDawn. But he's back in the game. His new book is called Whole Again. And I've already downloaded it on Audible. So I would strongly recommend everybody getting Jackson Mackenzie's book, Whole Again. I had a guy show me the book, and I downloaded it immediately. Jackson Mackenzie, Whole Again. So get that. We also have a new video by one Mark Edward Smith. And I went to the movies with my wife the other night. What's this? And I think that's just a stray hair that makes me look funny. And the book, Soren says he read Psychopath Free after the last split. and 3 and 4 hour walks, and that book saved me. Well, that book saved me too. What movie? The movie was about the great Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who, as you guys know, is a Supreme Court justice. She was a movie made about her, was more of a documentary called RBG. My daughter, who has recently got a master's degree in social work like her old dad, RBG is a huge RBG fan, and I think my daughter is going to be the next RBG. She's very, very similar. My daughter's really smart and she's really persuasive. But there's a new movie on Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and it's called, what's it called? It's called On the Basis of Sex, or on the discrimination on the basis of gender. And this was a regular movie about the topic. Nerd Incognito has been, she says, second time here, felt very, very inspired and empowered after the last 2 live feeds. Cool. So, during the movie, this was sort of about the beginning of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's career, where she first started to be an advocate, to challenge the laws, to go to appeals courts and be persuasive. And ironically, the final scene of the movie was held in the appeals court in Denver, which is where my daughter lives. And in the movie, each party got 30 minutes to make their case. And the case was, there was a man who wanted to count off his basically caretaker that he was paying off his taxes, because he was caring for his mother full time, but he had to go and work a little bit. He needed help. He wanted it off his taxes. And the law at the time allowed a female to take that tax deduction, but discriminated against a male. So how do you change the laws? Is in this case, you change discrimination against women by fighting for a man. But anyway, there was so much sexism and male chauvinist piggery and ignorance that and it was the first time that she was before an appellate court, and they were intrusive and rude and disrespectful. And so her husband did the first 15 minutes. She got 10 minutes, and she basically got bullied by the judges. She'll say, I'll take the last 5 minutes on redirect. Their lawyer got up and kicked butt, and there stood Ruth Bader Ginsburg with 4 minutes left, and clearly all 3 judges were going to vote against her. And she quit looking at her notes. She searched in her belly. She looked at the men in the eyes, and she used her laser smart brain, and she came up with powerful words. And 4 minutes later, they none saw Jesus, and they converted and were baptized, and they voted her way, because she is smarter than them. She was more persuasive than them. She was more passionate than them. And she was right on the issue. And what that did for me was it made me cry. And I was just sitting there weeping, and I couldn't get out of my seat. And my wife never did ask me why I was crying. But what caused me to cry was the power of the spoken word. To use a baseball analogy, it was 2 outs in the bottom of the ninth. She had 2 strikes on her. Her team was down 4 runs. She could easily strike out and lose. She could hit it to first base and get thrown out. But if she smacked it out of the park, her team wins. Well, she smacked it over the fence and out into the water outside the park. She killed it. She crushed it. And then what she did was she systematically went through the courts, bad laws, and she stood up in front of the Supreme Court and she convinced them that she was right and they were wrong. And she changed the world. And eventually she got the nod as being a Supreme Court justice. But anyway, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, what if you have things in your life that need changed? What if you have a spouse who doesn't hear you? What if you have kids who tune you out? What if you have narcissists at work or bosses that don't listen to you? So, what if you have a calling to say things in the world and impact people? What made me cry was I've had that experience of working with couples, and they're both looking at me like I'm a total dumbass, and they don't want to be there, and they don't have the slightest clue what their issues are, and I got 5 minutes left in the session, and the words come to me, and I light their asses up, and they see Jesus, and they get that their family of origin issue is the issue. And it's not about the marriage, it's about the family of origin issues. And they get it, and the light goes on, and they're in the movie, the eyes of the judges changed. They went from to that was maybe a dopey look. They went from arrogance and closed-mindedness to teachability and respect. She got done with her 4 minutes, and they said, Professor Ginsburg, continue. So then she continued on to whoop some more ass. Hey, Kimberly, we're talking about the new Ruth Bader Ginsburg movie and how it applies to our recovery as codependent. I don't know if some people would appreciate Soren. I light their asses up and they see Jesus. We know what we're talking about, but some Jesus folk might not get what I mean by that. It's no disrespect toward Jesus. So anyway, go see the movie. But the message is, what I'm saying is, develop your sense of self. Develop your passion, gain a lot of insight into what's true. Don't waste your time arguing with fools. The beauty of our country is, even with politically shifted courts too much to the right sometimes, my opinion, these justices are charged with finding out what's constitutional under the law. And in spite of politics, sometimes they can be convinced if somebody's right. And so we all have times when you got 4 minutes left to have impact, to have power, to be able to be heard, to have a voice. How bad does it feel to be invisible and not have a voice? And how good does it feel to walk into a room and there's how many Supreme Court justices are there? 9. There's 9 no's. You walk in and talk for a half an hour. You walk out with 9 yeses. That's some bad assery right there. And in our life, we have to deal with that too. So anyway, watch my video. It's called Change Your World with the Power of Your Words. All right. So, just want to do a little check-in. Y'all are chit-chatting amongst each other while I ramble on. So the holidays are over, and I'm sort of glad. Love my family, love my kids, love turkey. But man, it takes me out of my rhythm, because I eat bad, and I don't work as much, and it's great, but thank you, Kimberly, about the last video. In order for me to be successful in my recovery, I have to have the discipline of somebody training for the Olympics. I need to work out. I need to not eat sugar. I need to not eat carbs. I need to work out some more. I need to play basketball. I need to earn money. I need to save money. I need to not get in bad financial situations. So anyway, I'm just glad to be back in the routine and to be back on my low-carb diet. So anyway, the wife and I, Miss Brenda, I had to go get some CEUs in. You know what CEUs are? Continuing education units. I think that's what it is. But I needed some continuing education for my licensed clinical social work degree. I could choose Wisconsin or Fort Lauderdale. I picked Fort Lauderdale because it was warm. And then we were down there, and I thought, why don't we get on a boat? Because where we were staying was like 5 minutes from where you get on the boat. So we got on a 5-day cruise. And we had really good conversation with some wonderful folks from Toronto who were really wise to recovery. And we basically had group therapy. Everybody would leave, the whole dining room's empty, and we're doing group therapy with our 2 ladies from Toronto. So I got to compete. I'm old. I'm 59 and I'm fat and I'm out of shape. My back hurts and I can't play any more basketball with my 27-year-olds because they're really good. I can play with them. They just don't want to play with me on their team. But anyway, I've never been on a cruise ship that I didn't dominate. And I go to the 3-on-3 contests expecting to win, and I almost always do. I get there early and I find 2 of the better players, and then I coach them up to play smart, and sure enough, we beat a team with 3, 6, 5 guys. The rules were 7 minutes, the game's over. We got a 1-point lead. I made a layup. We were up by 1, and then I just took the ball and held it, took the air out of the ball. And then they came in. They eventually got the ball back. They came in. I just kept fouling them, and we won by 1 point. Got a gold medal. Anyway, that was fun. So back here in Myrtle Beach, where I love it, I was getting a little crowded. Nerd, are you a Torontonian? these women were really, really smart, and they were really wise in their recovery process. So, hey, Gilligan. So, one of the problems, so I get claustrophobic, and I was on the ship. I'd get in a hot tub, and like 8 people would get in right next up to me, and they'd be talking loud. And now I'm here in Myrtle Beach, and I'm going to get done with. I've got a couple from California after the show, but I'm gonna jump in my own hot tub. There's only gonna be me in there. Hey, I wanted to get Mr. Polly up. If he wakes up, I'm gonna have him join the show. Polly, he's looking up like I'm tired. If he wakes up, yeah, I hate crowded hot tubs. Come on, why don't you come and talk to the people on the show? They want to see you. He'd look at him like, I ain't getting up. But if he wakes up, I'll put him up here. Okay, I have one more thing to say. It's one of my favorite quotes. I used to be a huge believer in setting goals, and by the 3rd of January I already had a detailed set of goals for the new year. But I've chilled out. Polly, they say they miss you. I'm gonna drag him over here, and maybe he'll perk up. Hold on just a moment. Come on, Polly. Get up. Polly's gotten old, so don't be too fussy. And he's like his dad. He's gotten a little fat. He can still box out in basketball. Come on, baby. All right. Mr. Polly's in the house. Mr. Polly's in. I did. I woke him up. So anyway, he's got aging spots on his head, but he's so sweet. When we fly nowadays, we have to go through Charlotte, North Carolina, and we have to go from one end of the airport to the other end of the. Let me just turn this down here, and we'll get some more of Mr. Polly. There, more Polly, less Mark. Anyway, hang with me, baby. And we got to go from one edge of the airport to another. And so I wanted to get one of those cart rides because it's too far for Mr. Polly to walk. But they give me a wheelchair ride, and I could walk. I could probably run the whole thing, but Mr. Polly's, it takes him forever, and we missed a flight. So anyway, Mr. Polly says hi. Hey, I'm gonna let him go. All right, go back to chilling. So there's your Mr. Polly fix. Set up. It was set up somewhat sort of like that. Okay. Oh, my quote. So I would always make. Now I stink because of the dog. I would always make goals, but now what I do is I make goals and intentions, and I spread it out over a 2 to 3 year plan. But here's a quote that I like very much. It's given credit to by a guy named Harvey Mackay. I have no idea who he is. I've seen it before, and it's been anonymous. So I don't know if this really came from Harvey Mackay, but it says, a dream is just a dream, but a goal is a dream with a plan and a deadline. A dream is just a dream, but a goal is a dream with a plan and a deadline. So one of the things that that movie inspired me to do is I want to make more videos. I'm really good at persuading people, but I do it a couple at a time. I'm either seeing one person or I'm seeing two at a time, and that's all I can do. But with this vehicle, we're blessed to be able to reach hundreds of thousands of y'all. We're sneaking up on our 4 millionth view. So I want to bring passion and bring persuasion and bring wisdom and bring recovery to this YouTube channel, and to use, because what made me cry was I see that ability to blow people's minds and to change their paradigm. I see it in my daughter, and I can do it too. And my wife can also do it. And it's such an honor to really change somebody's paradigm. Okay, Sarah says she's buffering. Diana back, my goal is to beat this cancer with God's help and to eat solid food. God bless you. So that's all I really had to say. So I'm going to open the meeting to anybody who has a question. Y'all need to come with questions that are really good, not just made up questions at the last minute. You got to come with really good questions, or I'm going to get the rubber chicken out and start singing. God help you if that's where we go. Okay. I am sorry to hear, Diane, about cancer, Diana. You got to be a brave person to deal with cancer. I imagine that if I got diagnosed that I would not be all that strong in the beginning. I imagine I'd eventually get pretty strong. So Jilligan, you're having some kind of problem on the Facebook page. We'd love to have you on our Facebook page. I don't know how you got eliminated from the Facebook page. So I think Renda's going to join us sometime during the show tonight. Okay, so you can either check in with what's going on with you, or you can ask me a question, or me and the chicken are going to sing. Makes no never mind to me. What you got? There's my wife. Jilligan, I will take a look and send a request, and I'll get you re-added. Hi, honey. Excuse me. Nerd Incognito Sue. I am in North Carolina, my narcissistic family this past year. Overall, I'm doing well, but sometimes I experience guilt. How do I deal with guilt? I don't think it's probably guilt. Guilt is redemptive and positive. You're probably dealing with shame. And what I would recommend is we have a playlist on our channel that has hundreds of videos on the topic of shame. I would also recommend Brene Brown has several great books on shame, and the classic book Healing the Shame That Binds You. Also, Mark Smith has written a book on shame, sort of more related to couple communication. Kimberly says, Mark, I just found out over the weekend that my first love at age 16 died before Thanksgiving. I didn't even know he was sick. I need to figure out how to get closure. Well, Kimberly, generally you get closure by going to the funeral and going to the viewing and crying tears and, you know, going to the gravesite. Sarah, how do you break a trauma bond? So here I am, I'm asking you guys to share questions, but I'm not big on how-to questions, because how do you break a trauma bond? Get healthy, learn how to source your own needs instead of being dependent on getting your needs met by a narcissist. As Jerry would say, individuate yourself, have good, strong personal boundaries, learn how to love yourself. There are no easy how-tos. A good start would be reading Jackson Mackenzie. I've been back in my hot tub. My skin's all dry, so I'm all itchy. Read Jackson Mackenzie's previous book, Narcissist Free, or Psychopath Free, I think it's called, and then his new book, something about being whole. But he has a new book out. I can't wait to start listening to it. Okay. I've lost where people were. Chia Bunny, Mark, it's a when question. Not a how question, but a when. It'll happen when we are ready, right? Well, yes or no. It may happen. It may happen. It may not happen. There's no guarantees. But all we can do is put one foot in front of another and live one day at a time and do our work. Jerry Wise is in the house. Jerry. Hey, Jerry, why don't you take a few minutes and just get us caught up with you. Jerry's taken a little break from our channel. It's a long story. It's unrelated to the wonderful Jerry Wise, but he'll be back soon. But catch us up with what's going on with Jerry besides you're tired and have had a long day. If you could, just say a few things about what's going on with Jerry. Jerry and I are both going to be in a conference in March. The conference is on the title of Abandonment Issues. And if there's two fellas around who knows a little bit about abandonment issues, it's me and Jerry. So excited about doing that event. Rahel says that she has abandonment issues big time. Well, if you're going to have abandonment issues, you might as well go big time. Gilligan says that she thinks that abandonment issue is the core of her problems as well. Jerry says, I am researching learning how to let go. So there probably will be a wonderful video coming our way about letting go. So Jerry says it's about the science and the psychology of letting go. Rahel's, I hope I'm saying your name right. Her abandonment stems from being left a lot as a child, sick in hospitals. She was really sick as a child, and it's all coming back to her. Jerry says, most of us struggle with unresolved attachment. And then what do? We get all enmeshed with folks. That's good preaching right there. Soren says, abandonment is awful. John Bradshaw has amazing videos on healing abandonment, and they're free on YouTube. I'm going to share something funny with y'all. It's not very professional. Don't pass this on. But, you know, I do a lot of work in Indianapolis face-to-face with clients. But I do a lot of work here in Myrtle Beach or wherever I am on Skype with clients. And one of the advantages I've learned working with Skype is, don't tell anybody I said this, but if you got a fart, you can get away with farting. I don't think people hear it. Maybe they do, and they're just too polite, and they get off the session and go, "Do you notice how Mark was farting through the whole session?" But I imagine that they don't hear it, and I'm just saying, it's when you're with people, you hold it in, but when you're here by yourself and nobody can hear you, it's just sort of relieving. And that I do blame it on Mr. Polly. It's like there'll be this nasty smell, and my wife will carry on. I'll go, Mr. Polly. My wife says my clients do hear my fartages. So, but I like to think that they don't. Okay. M. Bomar Pham, love to watch playlists with speakers on. Watch all dysfunctional family members' faces. That's hilarious. Chia B. Bunny, my biggest issue is reactivity. But where's the reactivity coming from? Is it coming from abandonment? Is it coming from anxiety? Hello, Judy Garner from Texas. Brenda says, poor Mr. Polly gets blamed for killer gas. So Jerry was expounding upon really smart stuff, and then I started into my farting discussion, and oh, he's back. So, excuse me. Jerry says abandonment is when somebody is an attached and often enmeshed relationship, and then one party discards the other. Or you can have imagined abandonment. It feels like they're abandoning you. It looks like they're abandoning you. It smells like they're abandoning you, but they're really not. But then you react like that, and it feels like you're being discarded, and then you get fussy britches, and there's bad juju. The bunny lady says reactivity comes from being blamed and from shame. That's a big cause. Soren, do you have expertise in muting farting noises? Nerd Incognito says, I like how Mark and his wife call each other honey. That they found each other gives me hope. They're both good people. Jerry says, but that is a reactive formation of abandonment. You mean reacting to abandonment that didn't take place, Jerry, is a reactive formation of abandonment. Y'all got 3 hosts tonight. We got Renda in the house. We got Jerry in the house. We got Mr. Pauly in the house. Soren says, discarding is a bitch. My last girlfriend did that. I put all this energy into our relationship and she just blew it up one day and had a new guy the very next day. It was awful. No more. They're done with that. Well, Soren, evidently that's what you needed to happen. You needed to recruit somebody who was an abandoner, and genuinely, it's actually a gift. Are you buying that? Soren says he farts on Skype with his sister all the time, gets away with it. Jackie says that Mark and Renda are a wonderful couple. Hey, Renda and I don't want to give the impression that we're living a life of blissful marital, health. We both grew up in really broken families, and we struggle. We struggle. I ain't an easy man to live with. Just saying. But I think we are a wonderful couple nonetheless, so thank you. Diana Bach, could you imagine if you fart and it says what you had for dinner? Oh, that happens. Sarah, is there a difference between abandonment and wanting to be included? Wanting to be included is healthy. We're social animals. Abandonment is an overreaction. They might have abandoned you this much, but genuinely, if you have abandonment issues, it feels like this much. So, yeah, wanting to be included is great. I work with a lady who's a lost child, and she keeps getting excluded, and it hits her abandonment issues. And I said, well, how about if you get on the phone and you say, hey, I heard about that party y'all are having. Can I come too? That's healthy. You're putting your needs out there, and you're ask. It never hurts to ask. My wife, I think, talking about our marriage, says it ain't supposed to be easy, and you get what you need to grow, even though your husband can be a so-and-so sometimes. Soren says differentiated people don't date enmeshers. That is true. Nerd Incognito Sue, do you think that there are any good people on dating sites? All I meet were narcissist types. Yes, Nerd Incognito Sue. You got to get a shorter name. I'm just going to call you Sue. I tell people on dating sites, there are 2 kinds of people, wolves and sheep. And I think the wolves probably outnumber the sheep from 90% to 10%. So yeah, there's a possibility you could meet a sheep. If you're a sheep, much better possibility that you'll get ate up by a wolf. So I can't recommend it. Jackie says, Mark, can you be abandoned by a parent that you have never met? Absolutely, positively. If you have never met your biological parent, you're going to have abandonment issues. Just because they died before you were born, that is not crazy. If your parent dies before you were born, you've been profoundly abandoned. My wife's laughing, and she liked how I called myself a so-and-so. I was talking about you, honey. No, I was talking about me. Soren says that he now fills his schedule with live sports, movies, lectures, art galleries, etc., and he makes himself happy. And if he meets somebody, it's just icing on the delicious cake of life that I've made for myself. I'm going to read that again. Ding, ding, ding. We have a comment winner tonight. Now I fill my schedule with live sports, movies, lectures, art galleries, etc. I make myself happy. If I meet someone, it's just icing on the delicious cake of a life I've made. Bravo, Soren. That is very, 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 very happy. So happy, healthy. I'm a little goofy tonight. When have I not been goofy is another question. Sue, any suggestions on how to meet good partners off dating sites? Well, any place I say somebody's going to text in and said that they're filled with narcissists, live your life. If you like hiking, join a hiking class. If you like art, take an art class. If you're a writer, take a writing class. And just pay attention. But get around people who know people and just live your life. Let the game come to you. When Michael Jordan was playing, many times he'd have 6 points at halftime and they'd say, dude, why aren't you doing better? He goes, I'm just letting the game come to me. Sure enough, in the second half, he drops 40. And he didn't have to go out of his way to do it. Jackie says, how about church or a singles group or group of some sort? I think groups of some sorts are good. We all know that there are narcissists in church. It doesn't mean you shouldn't go to church. Here's the thing. Learn how to recognize a narcissist from across the room and just stay away from them. All right? That's the key part, is learn how to recognize narcissists. Jilligan says, were you guys talking about hot tubs earlier? I bought myself one of those Coleman redneck blow-up hot tubs for Christmas. How's that working out for you, Jillian? Got a Coleman redneck blow-up hot tub for Christmas. Jackie says, I met my dear husband at a singles dance. He asked me to dance. I said later. He came back 5 minutes later, and 30 years later, here we are. 30 years ago, when you went to a singles dance and you were closer to young than being in midlife, I bet at that singles dance, the percentage of narcissists was probably about 20%. On a dating site, probably about 90%. So just be careful. Soren says, 2 years ago, I was a broken little boy trying to get other people to give me back my key. No more, I found my own key. Ren Spire, that's my wife, he says, I ended up falling in love with a wonderful man. You did? Oh my God. Sue says, Mark, I have done intensive work on narcissistic red flags, took years off dating to work on myself. That's good. So Jackie was 29. She was at church, and this handsome fellow wanted to dance, and they've been dancing ever since. Jackie says, Rend, I think you and Mark are made for each other. Made to drive each other nuts. Work on our issues. Bunny Lady says, is it common for mothers to fear losing children? No, I don't think it is. Sue Hartwig, how do you recognize a narcissist across the room? Is there something that may particularly stand out? When I'm in a restaurant and there's a really loud talker who seems to be drawing the attention to himself, that's a narcissist. We were on the cruise ship and we had two wonderful ladies in recovery. And then we had this wonderful guy. But he probably was a narcissist. He was only 25, couldn't stop talking, only talked about himself, indirectly talked a lot about all the money he had. But yeah, definitely missed the last night of our dinner together because he was gambling in the casino. Charming guy, fun guy, good dinner conversationalist, but I would definitely say he had a little bit of narcissistic issue. You don't know where the wonderful man went. Soren says, so true. The loud one is the narcissist 98% of the time. Jerry Wise is talking about healing shame. He said he would read Braving the Wilderness, The Quest for True Belonging, and The Courage to Stand Alone. What a great title to a book. Braving the Wilderness, the Quest for True Belonging, and The Courage to Stand Alone by Brené Brown. Sue, Mark, my father is a cruel, malignant narcissist, and he acts like that in restaurants. You can tell about how people are in restaurants. You can tell I have PTSD in restaurants because when people get around me and I get all crowded, I ask to be moved to a table away from people because it makes me upset. I'm going to read you guys some poetry. And I've read this before, but it's just coming to mind. And so let me share this with you. It's called Inviting Mara to Tea. And I think Mara is represents pain. So let me read the poetry. Well, let me catch up. Soren says, Jerry, it's so true. As I individuate, my messed up family members and friends slowly slip into the background. It's so nice. And I recognize that I don't need them anymore, and that is a blessing. A narcissist act rude to servers. Amen. My wife says The Power of Vulnerability is also a great book by Brené Brown. Okay. Sue says going no contact with my family is the best decision I've ever made. Finally thriving and breathing. Okay, I'm trying to move down. I guess that's as far. Jackie says narcissists love to be seen and they love to be heard and they want their narcissistic supply, their fuel. Narcs are mean to their little fur babies too, says Gilligan, or they really don't care enough for their well-being. Bunny Lady says, I heard Grey Rock is a way to deal with narcissists when you can't go no contact. That is true. Okay, so let me read this, and it's about working on yourself. It's about being redemptive with every thing that comes your way, and it's by the great poet Rumi. I think he's from the 15th century, but he says, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning there's a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, having fussy britches." I made that part up. "Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain all of them. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever or whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Pay attention to your feelings, both good and bad, because they have been sent as a guide from beyond. If you go through some painful shattering, the whole experience is meant to teach you, and it's a guide from beyond." Oh, I'm getting tired of talking, folks. Soren says this group has done that for me. I think given him healthy community. You guys were exactly what I needed and what I still need. No, I did not write that poem. That is the great 15th century poem Rumi. So the bunny lady says, "Does anyone deal with obsessive thoughts about the narcissist?" Okay, so to test Renda's theory, did anybody hear me just pass gas? Because I did. So let's vote. If anybody heard it, then call me out. Don't lie, or I'll know. It's a quote from Silence of the Lambs. But that's my theory, that nobody can hear it. But let's back up. Does anyone deal with obsessive thoughts about their narcissist? Everybody does. After my shattering, I could not have very much time when I wasn't thinking about her. I thought about her all the time because I couldn't understand who she was. I thought maybe she had multiple personality disorder, because there was so much mind fucking that it wasn't that I was thinking of her. I was thinking of what the fuck just happened to me. So backing up, Rahel trains her mind to stop. I think it just takes time and it takes processing for you to stop, but I rarely think about the woman who narcissistically abused me. I do think about her almost every day when triggers come up, but not in a terrible way, and I don't linger with it. But I do wonder who she is and what the hell's she doing. Shilligan, I have a question for you. It's about my mother. Weeks ago, I basically lost my parents and blew up on her. Lost my patience and blew up on her. I didn't see a question. What is your question, Jilligan? So later, I apologized twice. So now we aren't talking. And she needs some help here and there, being in her early 70s. So the question is, did you apologize sincerely and humbly and non-reactively, or did you apologize sort of half-ass? So no feedback on the silent fart that nobody, I guess, heard. So I proved my point, honey, I believe. Okay. Rahel, triggers, I go through the thoughts and pain and then redirect my thoughts until it's gone. If I have to cry, that's okay. Crying is a wonderful thing. Soren says, I cry my eyes out and it helps a lot. The Chia Bunny lady says, gosh, I fart all the time. Diana says, I used to pretend I was cutting the connection with my fingers as scissors. Plus I cried and prayed a lot and the obsession stopped. Jackie says, only the shadow knows. Well, Mr. Polly knows too, because I think he just threw up in his mouth after smelling what I'd done in here. What's that smell? Y'all can't smell that over the internet. Don't tell me that. That y'all are messing with me. Y'all can't smell that. But it smells pretty bad. Mr. Polly does need some fresh air. Okay, let me see what time it is. It is 10:30, and let me see. I have a client still. I have these clients from California. Let me see. I think I'm overtime here. Let me. Is it 10:30 or is it 9:30? It's 10:30. Time flies while you're really having fun. You know, it's 9:30. I gotta fix these clocks. It's 9:30, and we started about 20 minutes late or so. So we got about 10 minutes. Brenda says, where are your Bath and Body Works candles? Help. Gray rock is essentially being boring. It causes the narcissist to lose interest. Yeah, Soren says it's 9:30. I gotta fix my clock. I'm on wrong time on both of my clocks here. Okay, well, we've established that there's a good movie out there about having a powerful voice. We've established that it's good to be on the other end of the holidays and it's time to get disciplined. Chia Bunny asked if anybody saw the moon eclipse. I was watching football during that time. Jilligan says that she was sincere with her apology, but her mom had some issues. She's a hard person to talk to. Plus, we have a terrible alcoholic and abusive history. Okay, I'm not going to read Soren's comments. They're a little raw, not inappropriate, but I'm just not going to read that particular one. So listen, why don't we wrap up tonight? Todd, and I got one more couple from Los Angeles. So I love you guys, and I appreciate the enthusiasm. Who needs a shower? Cold shower. Soren needs a cold shower. There's Betty Wormsley says, hi, everybody. You know, I start talking about winding down, but then it takes me a little time to actually do it. So let me see if my next client is ringing me. Not yet. So in 2 weeks, you'll probably have me again, unless I can prevail upon my wife to take over the show. Like I said, Jerry's taking a little teensy tiny break. There's somebody from Germany. Ganz offen geschlafen kaputt. Love and light to you all. Kimberly says, thanks, Mark, Renda, and Jerry. You three are so awesome. helpful, and kind. Okay, there's my clients, and they're here. They're ready to Skype. We're sending love to Germany. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks from the office in Indianapolis, where it's very cold. Jerry says, how kind. Love you, Jerry. Thank you for being there for me as a friend since I was 17 years old. So, all right, I'm off to Los Angeles. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Jerry says he loves me too, even though I fart during the show. So, Sue says, thank you so much, Mark. This makes me inspired. New Eyes. Mark, it just caught the end of the show, but I want to say thank you so much for all your help and the videos regarding shattering. It's been so helpful. Well, you're welcome, New Eyes. I need to get some new glasses. Diana says, thanks, Mark and Renda. So I'm glad that Mr. Pauly got to make an appearance. I don't really work a lot. I try to work just Tuesday and Thursday, but those are really long days. And then I just try to practice self-care on the other days, and occasionally try to connect with my lovely wife. Sue says, thanks heaps, Mark. Love your support. So, okay. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for love to Mr. Pauly. Thanks for putting up with my gaseous behavior.